Hello everybody and welcome to Watch Me Go Broke. Today's review is of the NTH Nacken Modern Blue version 2. First things first, on my wrist today is another homage that I have made. Actually, to be honest with you, the guy that I got the dial from sent me the wrong dial, and I just went ahead and made the watch anyway. I think it looks okay. It's an old homage to an older sub-style watch. You know, it is what it is. And here is today's watch. This is the NTH Nacken Modern Blue version 2. This is a 300-meter dive watch. NTH stands for Nod to History, so there are quite a few cues in this particular watch that are from dive watches of the past. There's a little bit of Tudor, there's a little bit of Rolex in it. That's probably it. Can't really see anything else in this particular watch here. So the dimensions are as follows. This is a 40 millimeter watch. It has a thickness of 11.5 millimeters. A lug to lug of, I measured 48. I think their website says 47. I measured 48. It is 20 mil lug widths, tapering down on this 3-link bracelet to 18 at the clasp and back up to 21 with the clasp. It is an all 316L stainless steel watch, drilled lugs, stainless steel bezel, which is actually really cool in a wonderful blue kind of sunbursty style color. Zooming in on the dial, you have all applied indices, and they actually look really, really good. Very sharp lines. The quality of those indices is really, really good. The hands are, you know, Tudor Pelagos style hands, or Pelagos, depending on what region of the world you're in. Those style hands, they are all coated in white, making it very, very legible in any angle that you happen to glance at this watch. You've got the really cool NTH logo just below the 12 o'clock marker, and just above the 6 o'clock marker is Nacken with the two little dots above the A, and then 300M equals 1,000 feet. So the bezel is 120 click. It is unidirectional, as is par for the course for a dive watch. The action on it is pretty good. It is a little stiff, probably stiffer than a lot of bezels that you would be cranking. It's a little difficult to turn. You do have to use 3 fingers to turn it, as I'm doing here. Turning it on your wrist is pretty much impossible, but maybe that will loosen up over time. But everything lines up really, really nicely. So the bezel, as mentioned, is stainless steel, so it's going to be more tough and more durable than an aluminum bezel, but you're not going to get that reflectiveness that you would find with a ceramic bezel. It is a sapphire crystal today. Very, very clear domed sapphire crystal. And taking a look at the case back here, not a whole lot on the case back. You've got sapphire, the NTH logo thrice on the case back, 316L steel, and automatic. It is a screw down case back. So taking a look at the crown, this is an oversized crown. It's not a big crown. Big crown would be larger in thickness. This is larger in diameter. It has a loomed NTH logo, which actually looks really nice in the dark. You also have crown guards protecting the crown, which is a difference between this and version 1. Version 1 does not have crown guards. Also, the bezel on version 1 is a cog style or more of a gear style bezel. This, of course, is scalloped, and the chamfered edges have been beefed up a little bit. They're a little bit thicker on this version 2 than they were on version 1, and it actually kind of makes it to where the lugs look quite a bit thinner, a little bit sharper. It actually adds a nice bit of angling to this timepiece. So let's talk about the bracelet. The bracelet is 20 millimeters, tapering down to 18. It is a 3-link style bracelet. There's a lot of flex in it. It is actually really, really comfortable. And when have you seen a 3-link bracelet be able to do this? kind of fold in on itself like that. So comfort on this 3-link is really, really good. It is screw pins, so very easy to size yourself. This also comes on a beads of rice bracelet for an extra 25 bucks. If you're going to buy the beads of rice bracelet by itself from Watch Gauge, I believe is the only place you can get it currently. It is 150 by itself. So the clasp is a very common clasp that is used in micro brands. There's not a lot that's special about it. It is double pushers with a fold over locking mechanism. 6 micro adjustments. It is all milled. It is one of my favorite clasps on watches of the $200 to $300 price range. This one, of course, is much more expensive than that. So yeah, interesting that they use this type of clasp here. So this watch is powered by the Miyota 90S5, which is the no-date version of the Miyota 9015. So it beats at 28,800 vibrations per hour, and it does have a power reserve of 42 hours. So you're not going to get that ghost date. I'm not going to do the ghost date joke. That's on a different video if you want to see the ghost date joke I made. But So the movement does hack and it does hand wind. So hand winding, no problems there. Feels good. And then one click out stops and hacks. And you can set the time. There's a good bit of refinement on the indices and the hands. I like, if you notice at the 3 o'clock marker there, the 3 and the 9, if you go to set the time, it actually lines up very nicely with the hour hand, almost kind of creating one solid piece. So at the 3, 6, and the 9, you're going to get that really cool look of, this the one continuous piece. Now going to the other indices, they appear to be the exact same size as the end of that hour hand. So there is a lot of detail in these indices to where they match up with the hands. So screwing down the crown is really nice. No binding. It does what it's supposed to do. It winds in very easily. You'll notice that there is a little bit of a like a shelf right there to keep the crown further away from the case, and I'm assuming that is so that your fingers do not hit the bezel when you're winding it in. They don't, and I think that was a nice touch that they've thrown in there. So let's check out the Lume. Well, the Lume is pretty good. This was one of the first watches that I can remember in version 1 that did a lumed bezel in addition to the indices and the hands being lumed, which I think is a really neat touch. It's the Lume is pretty good. I think this is since this was one of the first watches where that was done. There are watches out there that do it a little bit better, but this certainly gets the job done. And of course, that crown being loomed is a really nice touch. So all in all, I think the Lume is pretty good. And there it is, out in the wild on my 7.5-inch wrist. It wears really good. It does wear similar, and I heard somebody say this. It does wear similar to the Omega Seamaster 300M, the Bond watch, not the new ones, because of the thinness there. So, and I can attest, because I have that watch, that it does wear very similar to that. So if you're looking for a similar wearability to the Omega 300M, this is definitely a watch that you could get that from at a fraction of the cost. So what do I like about this watch? Well, I love the dial color. I think that matte blue color is really great. It's very legible, the dial. I mean, any angle that you look at this watch, you're going to be able to tell the time. I love the indices and hands being that stark white. Just, again, the legibility of this watch is absolutely amazing. I really love it. I also love the stainless steel bezel. I think that's really an interesting feature there. And of course the Lume pip, how it's just cut out from the stainless steel bezel, so you're not going to hack it off. That Lume pip is going to be there until you are dead, or the watch is dead. I don't know why I always say that. Things being dead. Like, this watch is going to last you until you're dead. I don't know. I don't know why I say that. Kind of morbid there. And of course, I love the thinness. 11.5 thin is really, really great. It hugs the wrist very nicely. You're going to be able to slide this under a cuff, you know, any way you want to wear it. And it is a strap monster, so you're going to be able to easily change the straps out with these drilled lugs here. So, you know, any kind of NATO or leather even. I know people don't like leather on a diver, but I think it would work fine with this watch. Kind of a old-timey leather bezel, or leather bezel. Leather bezel. Leather bezel. That would be interesting, a leather bezel. And of course, I love the nod to history, which is NTH's logo and motto. You've got, you know, Tudor in there, you've got Rolex in there. And one cool Rolex thing that I like is, if you can see here, on the subs from back in the day, there's always that little step down from the lugs to the end link of the bracelet. And this has that. And I think that's a cool little subtle nod that has been done with this particular watch. So yeah, it just adds to the charm of it. So what do I not like about this watch? Well, really, I think the head of the watch, the dial, the bezel, all of that, the crown guards, the drilled lugs, all of that's great. What I don't like really is the bracelet so much. It is very comfortable. You're not going to have any trouble at all, and it's cool that it folds in on itself. So there's a lot of comfort for this 3-link bracelet. But I don't know why you would do protruding end links, you know, if you're going to kind of nod to vintage style. I know it adds a little bit of structural integrity to the bracelet, but it does add a little bit, very little, to the lug-to-lug. They curve down pretty nicely on this watch, but I don't know. I would have rather liked to see an inverted link there, just adding to the vintage vibe of it. But the bracelet in general, to the naked eye, it looks like it doesn't taper at all. So that's also similar to the Omega Seamaster 300M. I would prefer more of a taper, maybe of 20 down to 16. I think that would, you know, add some more to the vintage look of this watch. And of course, the clasp, you know, it's a good clasp. It's a great clasp. But I think at this price, you have watches in the, you know, $150 to $300 range that use this exact same clasp. And so this being $700 in its current state here, that's a little disappointing. I would have liked to see something, at least maybe some quick on the fly adjustments there, maybe that could be made with the redesign of a clasp. But you know, again, and it's a bit bulky because this watch is very sleek, it's slender, it's thin, those sharp lugs. It all is very very stealthy, and this clasp is just like a brick. You know, it's just like there. So it's a little bit bulky maybe than I think it could be or should be. So the bracelet, I think, for the price of this watch, it's $700. It's lacking a little bit. I would spend the extra $25 and get the Beads of Rice bracelet. I think you're going to get the same comfort. That also does have the same clasp as this, but I think Beads of Rice is the way to go. I think it would add a little bit more to the watch. This is kind of a throwaway bracelet. It's great. It gets the job done, but I think you get a little bit more out of that Beads of Rice, and I might be picking that up actually. But you know, $150 for just the bracelet, the Beads of Rice bracelet. Yeah, you'd be better off just going ahead and getting it on the bracelet originally. And currently, Watch Gauge does have all of the versions available at the time of this review, so I believe that's the only place you're going to be able to snag one of these. Oh, and my air conditioner just kicked on. It's 150 degrees outside. I'm in southeast Texas, so it's a bog out there. But all in all, I think this watch is really great. The price, it's steep. It's steep. For what you're getting here, but again, the micro brands really don't make very much money, is my theory, off of each piece that is sold. So I don't know how much this costs to manufacture, but I would assume that the profit margin is not that high on these, you know, because if you're going to make something like this yourself, it's going to cost you quite a pretty penny. But overall, it's a great watch. There's no doubt about that. The bracelet, a little bit lacking, but certainly not lacking enough to not get it. So I think I can recommend this watch if you're willing to spend the money. I think you really enjoy it. And of course, the blue, the way the colors change and the light and different lights, and the lume's good, you know, everything on it's good. So yeah, guys, that's all I've got for today. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think this watch is overrated, overhyped, or do you think it fits right in the alley that it should in horology? So I will see you next time.